Krista. Sorry, Krista from Esquire. So the first question is, what was the moment when you realized that tennis would be your career?
I've kind of always known. I've been playing tennis for about 15 years, 15, 16 years. So it's been a long while, and I really couldn't see myself doing anything other than tennis. Of course, it I didn't see it was possible until maybe I think it was a gradual realization. I moved to Spain at 13, I turned pro at 15. And I think when around 15 is when I really decided and made it a point that this is what I'm going to do.
Okay. Cams, do you have a question from your end that you're seeing?
Yeah, I guess we can also call those raising their hands.
Okay. I
I
can.
can see Miss Diane Castillejo
Okay.
already raising her hand.
Yes. Diane from ABS.
Oh, hi, Alex. Super
Hello.
congrats.
Hi,
Okay.
Sa.
Hey, so
Thank
I wanted to ask you first off your new ranking, number 73 in the WTA. I mean, I know you're not really like super monitoring it, but how does that sound to you that you are now number 73 in the world, Alex?
it sounds amazing. At this level, every spot forward counts. So I'm super blessed to be in this position, and I never expected it maybe a month ago that I would be here right now. So surprised, but in a good way, and motivated, definitely.
So at the Miami Open, I know after you won each match, you would always say, yeah, that's good, but I have another match to work on. Okay, so now that you're done and maybe you've had a few days to recollect and reflect on the amazing upsets you pulled off, what are you thinking? Like what is going through your mind now? What are you saying to yourself? Like you beat, number 25, 5-2, and you reach the semifinals with Miami Open. Share naman.
Um, wow, it's very, it's a bit hard to swallow
Yeah.
because nga such big wins. Um, but I'm super proud. I think that's the word. I'm proud of myself, and just to be able to say that I'm in the top 100, top 75, to be able to say that I have top 5 wins is very surreal to me. And as I said, that mentality for the next match doesn't just go on during the tournament. Um, as I said, the work isn't done, and I have goals to look forward to, and tournaments to look forward to.
Last from my end for this round, I saw you started practicing on the clay. How is it going? How are you feeling on the clay, and how are you gonna adjust your game? And how high has your confidence reached stepping into the court after a tournament like you had?
No, the confidence is there, definitely. I think the shots are really high in quality after the week I just had.
Hmm.
I haven't been on clay in roughly a year. So it's been a while since I've stepped on clay, but that's really how it goes. The grass plus the hard season's very long. So I'm just trying to adjust my game, like feel around the court, and feel comfortable with the clay.
Okay, thanks. We'll wait for another round if there can be.
Baka yung
Okay. Thank you, Diane. Alex, we have a question here from Ellie from Daily Tribune. How did you compose and get yourself ready to face the top 100 in the world in the Miami Open?
I think, well, a big part I've said previously of being able to face these opponents is to treat them like they're any other opponent, is to strip them of all their decorations and all their achievements. And did it like every other match. There's nothing that I did in particular that was out of my routine. Of course, the tactics or the things I would talk about and the emotional preparation with my coach would be different when he saw that I was a little bit more nervous, and it was a little bit higher stakes than what I'm normally used to. But nothing drastic has changed. So I prepare for it like all my other tournaments and all my other matches. So I have a routine, and I stick to that.
Okay. We
Should we?
also have Paolo Barcelona from Billionario would like to ask a question.
Hi, Alex. I'm Erica from Billionario. Please disregard my name. That is super wrong. Okay, but anyway, again, congratulations, Alex. What a stunning run that you've had back in Miami Open. Now, and of course, congratulations on your top 100 win. Now that you're finally in top 100, I know, Alex, you are set now to finally directly compete in a number of WTA tournaments, including, of course, Grand Slams. We have Roland Garros on the line. We have Wimbledon also happening in a couple of months. So, what tournament are you specifically excited about to compete in, and why?
Of course, I'm excited for the Grand Slams ahead. Roland Garros. I know that I will be in the main draw, so that I'm very excited about that. My first time to be in the main draw, so it's a new experience and everything to gain.
All right, another one from me, Alex. After your quarterfinals with Iga Swiatek, um, like us Filipinos, all of your fans all around the world, we noticed your cluster of emotions when you finally did your when your match winning point. We couldn't actually decipher what emotions were going through your head. Like you were in shock and disbelief. But most of all, I think the emotion that really overtook everything was really your humility. Can you take us through that moment, Alex? What was running through your head?
It was funny because I was talking to my parents the other day. I keep seeing the reaction when I won against Iga, and I try to look back at that moment specifically, and I can't remember anything. Um, Maybe until I like walked to the net, and I can't remember. I can't remember looking up from the ball. I can't really. It's all very blurry, and I think that is a reflection of how just overwhelming and how shocking that moment was for me. Um, I did show there was a lot of emotions definitely, but I worked so hard and prepared so hard to block them out during the match that I think it took a while for them to come back after I found out that I won. But now I think the emotions are just scattered everywhere, and it definitely hasn't left yet.
Okay, last one for me, Alex. For this round at least, let's jump back into your semifinals together with Jessica Pegula. Um, after your match, I remember you had like a quite a long exchange on the court before shaking hands with the umpire. What did she say to you? Just out of curiosity, what were the exchanges that you guys were saying to each other?
No, just the regular. We normally, when you shake hands, you say something like "good match," "well played." I can't remember exactly what she said. I know I told her that it was such a pleasure to play with her. Of course, I at that point I was just so grateful to have reached what the semifinals, and I put up a really good fight. So I had no regrets and everything to be thankful for.
You did. You definitely tired her out. And diba she even wrote that on the camera, I'm tired, and then
I
her
saw, I
signature.
saw. But I think at that point was past midnight now, so everybody was tired, even the
Yeah.
crowd.
All right, that's it from me. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thanks, Erica. So we can call some of the people who's raising their hands.
Yeah, we're calling their name. Yes, say
Uh,
go ahead, Cams. Call someone you.
sorry, I see Beatrice is raising her hand also. She's been raising her hand for a
Yeah.
while.
Hello. Hi, Alex. Congratulations. Yes. So, ayun. You also talked about your new opportunities, like in your last Instagram post. Can you talk more about that? Like, how would this new season or this stage being a top 100 mean for you? And maybe you have like some like new mindsets or responsibilities ba ganon?
Yeah, nga. Of course, being in the top 100, higher ranking means that you have more possibilities to get into higher tournaments. So the thousands, um, and more main draws. So hopefully in the next few slams, I'm able to get into the main draw directly. So those are the opportunities I was talking about. But of course, with that comes tougher opponents and more problems, obstacles, like I said in my post. So I'm also learning how to manage that. Now that I've done a great week, I think there I have a good standard, there's a new standard for me, and that's one of the obstacles, is learning how to manage that, because it's not going to be every week that I'm going to play incredible, that I'm going to feel the ball all the time. So I think time will tell, and all I can do for now is prepare.
Yes, and last question from me. So, what were your biggest learnings naman from the Miami Open? Both like the really nice learnings and what you want to improve also.
For me, the biggest learning is that even the top players have weaknesses, and they have, they're not perfect, they're not, of course, when you see that they've won so many things, and of course it can depend on what kind of moment they're in their career, but there's always a way, there's always a point to push. And if I believe in myself, then I know that I'm able to push those points.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. See you soon.
Thank you, Bea. Alice, our next question will be from Jack Sampayan of Volt. Sorry, Jax, you're in mute. We can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Okay, sorry. First of all, congratulations, Alex. We're all very proud of what you've accomplished. There was a point after your semifinal match with Pegula where you were just sitting in the bench and you were just looking over the crowd and like smiling to the music. And it's not really typical of people who've actually lost a match to be that upbeat. But what was going on in your mind at that point?
It's not typical for me either to be that upbeat after a loss, but I was just at the point that I was so thankful. Um, I lost, but I put up a good fight. And if, I sat down because I was tired, and you look into the crowd, and there was countless numbers of Filipino flags. And we're playing in Miami, I'm playing against an American, but the stadium was full of Filipinos, and I just felt so supported and so loved. And like, it just, at that moment, you can't help but to feel happy, because it was such a big achievement, and they know that it was such a big achievement, and they were there to support me, and I had someone to share the achievement with.
During that whole Miami Open, did you take time to look over social media and all the outpouring of support from Filipinos, or were you really focused on your matches?
I did in monitored amounts. I yeah, I made it a point not to dwell on social media so much. I knew that it was blowing up, but I guess not the extent that it actually did. Um, it's hard to be in the present, to stay in the present when all of that is happening online. But I felt when I distanced myself from my phone, it's when I was able to be more productive and more focused.
Thank you. I'm good for this
Thank
round.
you, Jax. Thank you. Just like to remind everyone, because Alex is also focusing, to mention nga niya earlier, she also minimizes the use of her phone because to make her focus. So this press conference is something that we are grateful to have, and we wanted to give chance for everybody to have their own to be able to ask their questions. So we'll limit the questions to one question with one follow-up question for each of the succeeding inquiries or questions for Alex. So our
All right.
next yes.
Okay. So we read one question from the chat and then we'll call one who's raising her hand later on. So I saw an interesting question here from Dal Bennett of spot.ph. Assessing your experience at the Miami Open, what would you say have been your strengths and your weaknesses, and what do you intend to work on specifically as you prepare for the upcoming tournaments, including possibly the Grand Slam?
Mhm. I think my strength definitely would be my mentality. I take pride in how I handled myself on court, and took control of my emotions during the matches, even when I was losing. And I definitely think that my serve, the starts of the point, need work. Also my fitness, and the overall shape of my body. It was a heavy load that week, and I was able to push through, and I was able to maintain a high level until the end. But the next step is to be able to repeat this, and for my body to handle this kind of intensity repetitively. Sorry.
What a very nice answer to that question. I hope that answers your question, Dal. So, Joey, would you like to call on the next question or the next media who would like to ask the question, rather?
Okay, so next is we have Peter. Attention. Oh, sorry. I think we have a question. She already sent a lang. Here's my question. Having monitored and watched your performance since you were 9 or 10, can you share to us your thoughts on the Paris Olympics? Peter Atencio of Manila Standard.
Um, Sorry, thoughts on Paris Olympics?
Yes. Can you share your thoughts on the Paris Olympics?
I think that the Olympics is such a big event, and I it's definitely one of my goals to represent the country there. So hopefully in 2028. But for Paris Olympics, I can't say much because I wasn't there. But I'm so happy to see that the Filipinos really excelled, lalo na si Carlos Yulo, of course. So it was a big inspiration for the country, and uh, a big event that united all of us, I think, in pride and in happiness. So, um, not just him winning the golds, but all the athletes, just seeing all the Filipino athletes, seeing them do their best and fight in their respective sports was super inspiring.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Cams, you have from your end?
Yeah, okay. So Louis Morales has been raising their hand. Yeah. Uh, would you like to ask a question, Louis?
Yes, please. Hi, Alex. First of all, congrats on the great run. A couple of questions for me. Actually, it's something that you touched on in one of your post-game interviews in Miami. You said that before you had some opportunities to face players like Iga, like you were maybe one win away from a matchup from them, but you said that, maybe at that time you weren't ready, and now at the moment you were, and you beat them. So I guess the question is, what was the biggest difference that changed within you that you can say right now that yes, I can face them and I can beat them?
So much. I feel like I've grown so much as a player in the past year. Um, Technically, tactically, I'm more smart on court. Um, I'm physically much stronger than I was a year ago. So I think all of those things combined um, make such a difference in my game, especially when I'm playing well.
You have a you have a follow-up question? Okay. Louis? Okay,
That's
thank
good.
you, Louis. Would like to call on Ian Suyu of TV5. You may ask your question now, Ian.
Hi Alex, good afternoon.
Hi, hello.
And definitely sumakses ka talaga this time.
Oo.
Anyway, Alex, coming off a historic semis finish, what are the aspects of your game that you are looking forward to polish even more?
Yun nga yung sinabi ko, yung serve, syempre needs work. Also, my footwork, I think I have a lot to improve there and coming forward. But definitely details, I think I have to take it step by step. Right now is the time really to improve.
And after making it to the top 75, actually 73rd ka na ngayon, do you have a particular target or ranking that you want to achieve in the following months para mas sumakses palalo?
Of course, the more the merrier. The better ranking, the better. Um, I think after 75, the next step would be logically would be 50, top 50. But as I said, this is all new territory for me. So I'll try to navigate that muna before claiming any any new steps. Yeah.
Okay, Ian, thank you for that question. Talagang sumakses si Alex step by the step, no? So we have one more from, I think Ivan also sent his question on the chat, but would you like to ask Alex personally your question, Ivan Saldaheno?
Great. There. Thank you. Thank you, host. Hi, Alex. Congratulations. So my question is, now that you're number 70 in the world and you're now eligible to play in a Grand Slam without any hitch, how do you tend to emulate the success of your mentor, Rafa Nadal, now that the French Open is up next on your pipeline?
Well, Rafa has been a big role model, not just for me, I think for everybody naman. He's such a huge role model, and to be mentioned in the same breath is very, it's nice to hear. Um and of course, Roland Garros meant so much to him as a player. He's achieved so much. Um and I'm trying to just make my own path, and do, you know, not just because I want to do well in Roland Garros, not just because Rafa did well there. I want to do well there because it's what I want to do, and I believe that I can do well on the Grand Slam of clay.
Okay. Okay, one more on my end. You're just one set away from setting a date with the world number one Sabalenka. Had there been a chance, what would have been your game plan?
To stick with my game, of course she's a very aggressive player, but I think I need to be aggressive because that's my game. And number one in the world, she's going to be successful in her game plans in a lot of the points. So I that would mean that I would have to defend. So running a lot, like in all the previous matches I had. And like I said, to take the opportunities because they don't give you a lot.
Right? Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
host.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian. So Von Belinario of News 5 sent a message. We have weightlifting for Heidelin, gymnastics to Carlos, pole vault to EJ, and now Alex for tennis. In a nation where basketball and boxing are very much celebrated, what are your thoughts on bringing tennis to a main spotlight and inspire fellow Filipinos to play and enjoy tennis as well?
I love tennis. I think tennis is a beautiful sport. So to see lalo na ngayon more and more Filipinos picking up rackets and getting their kids into tennis is really such a sight for sore eyes, especially growing up that, tennis was very scarce. It wasn't basketball or it wasn't volleyball. So I really like to think that I have this impact, and lalo na ngayon the win that I did in Miami is, getting more people to look into tennis and getting more people to love the sport as well.
Thank you. Tams?
Okay,
Have
so yeah, so that's a great answer. It's not really tennis is not really that popular in the Philippines, but with Alex right now, Filipinos are getting into the sport. So I've been seeing Kate Reyes raising her hands. Okay.
Hi, Alex. Nice to see you again. Alex, Little Mo, one of your earliest international tournaments, it was in Florida as well, right? Would you say that that feat, roughly 12 years ago, played a huge part in your trajectory as an athlete right now? How does it feel that you got back on the same ground, making history this time, not just for yourself, but also for the country?
I don't think that the Little Mo
Oh,
feat
is it
was how would you say life changing, or it was something that I did when I was young. It was a way for me to bond with my family. It was one of the first steps I took to compete internationally. But if I hadn't won that, or if I hadn't competed in that, nothing would change. But this
okay?
Miami run was significant, not just for me, but I would like to believe for the country and for Philippine tennis. So I value so much what I did in the past 2 weeks. Yeah.
All right. Second question for me, Alex. You know, Filipinos love this. The clips of you talking to yourself, like malayo pa, kaya mo yan in between your games and your sets in Tagalog. So at this point in your career, how important is self-talk for you?
It's important. I think not just in this point of my career. It's been there since the beginning of my career. It doesn't always happen verbally. It just happens in my head sometimes. And I think it happens to everybody, not just athletes. You need a pep talk, and you need to remind yourself what's important when those moments come.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Alex. We have a question from Dax Lucas of Insider PH. Alex, your mom also wore the flag and represented the Philippines not too long ago. How was her experience as an athlete influence your own journey? And what tips or lessons did she give you as an elite athlete?
um oh I she there's so many lessons that she's taught me about being an elite athlete. I think, representing the country is something that we're both super proud of. And to be able to follow in her footsteps, you know, in the end, if I'm 55 and I'm like her, then I'm happy. So I think there's just countless of lessons and tips that she's given me, but I think I would have to attribute my mind also, and the way I think on court, to her and to my dad. Because more than former athletes, or um, businesswomen, businessmen, I think they're my parents. So they handle the life side more than the athlete side of Alex.
Okay, thank you so much for that question, Sir Dax. Actually, you get the talent really from your parents. No, that's where we start our foundation. So I've been seeing also Ivan Ruiz stewing. Is that correct? If you have a question, please go ahead, Ivan.
Hello. First of all, congratulations to Alex for your ranking. Now that you're at number 73, gano'n nakalaki yung uh, pressure sa'yo now that a lot of tennis players saw what you did in the Miami Open and they want to do do the same this time against you?
Um, hmm. Well, there is definitely talagang may pressure because I was able to do well, but that's also a good sign. In the end, I'm the same player as I was 2 months ago. With a little bit more experience and a little bit more knowledge of what I'm capable to do. And I understand that this is new for me. This is something I haven't done before, being in the top 100. Um, and being one of the seeded players. So it's not porket nagawa ko na magagawa ko ulit. So that's what I'm trying to work on. Is being able to continuously keep up this level.
You're on mute, Ivan.
All right. To follow up lang din, Alex, given that you're set to make your main draw debut in the French Open, how cathartic is that? Lalo na last year you were almost there but fell short dun sa three qualifying rounds nung past three slams in 2024.
Well, super excited, super happy. It's a big achievement to start na in main draw. Um, Instead of playing the three matches to get into the main and to qualify. So with that, bigger challenges as well. But like I said before, so much to gain, and I'm super motivated.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Sorry, we have last 10 minutes, so we'll have a few more questions and then we'll do a cutoff. Should we we're if we're not available or we won't be able to answer your question, feel free to send them to us and we'll answer at a later time after this Zoom meeting na lang when Alex has time again for you. So next question will be from Manny De Los Reyes, also an avid tennis player. Manny, sorry, Alex, where are you preparing now for the upcoming tournaments in Portugal, Madrid, and Roland Garros?
Well, I'm in Mallorca. I train at the Rafa Nadal Academy, so that's where I'm training. And yeah, so I'm getting ready. I'm moving to clay.
No follow-up question for that. So the next would be from RJ Balyaser from The Game. After beating Madison Keys, you noted how it was tough because you didn't have anyone from where you're from to pave the way. Given this, just how are you embracing that role to be that trailblazer, to be that idol for young aspiring Filipino players we look up to now?
Oh, I never thought about it like that. It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that ako yung trailblazer because I've always just, been the type to keep my head down and to work. Anyone who wants to take inspiration from me is welcome to. But that doesn't mean that, ako lang yung that doesn't mean that I'm the only one they can take inspiration from. For example, me growing up, I took inspiration from the likes of Sharapova, Dina, or Halep. So there's so many people, and if they just look beyond the Philippines, you can take so much more inspiration.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you for that. I see Jessica Zapata raising her hand as well. Go ahead, Jessica.
Hi Alex, this is Jess from Tatler. Can you share, because you mentioned earlier that your strength is your mentality. So can you share some of the mental strategies that you employ during tough matches and when your opponent is a much higher rank? So how do you mentally prepare yourself for that?
Well, I think strategizing is a big part and to focus on what your strengths are as a tennis player. Not to focus so much on the opponent. Um, of course, there are tips and tricks that you should know about, the general style of how your opponent plays, but not to read into it so much. And then just think point by point and what you need to do.
All right. And during the Miami Open, did anything about your play or strategy or skill surprise you yourself when you were playing?
Um, I think, maybe my consistency. I think that was one of the things that really popped out. But aside from that, not really. No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We have 4 minutes left. I'm sorry. So everybody's been just sending their questions. I'm sorry, but we may not be able to answer everyone. But rest assured, we'll be sharing with you the copy of the recording of this video, and we promise that all your other questions we will revert once Alex is also available. Please take note that she's also still doing her trainings. That's why having this opportunity with her, the time with her, is something that we are very grateful for. Siyempre, we don't want naman our questions be hinder her for focusing or actually doing the practices that she needs to work on. Other questions that we need to take note of. Sorry, Nico. We'd like to call on Nico. Nico Wahe.
Hi, Alex. First, congratulations. Nico Wahe, reporter from GMA Integrated News. My question is just about your plans. If you have plans on putting up your own academy and teach Filipino kids tennis at syempre ma-involve pa yung Pilipinas. Sabi nga may nagtanong kanina, 'di ba, na we're a basketball country, but eto tulad ng kay Carlos Yulo gymnastics and kay EJ the pole vaulter, syempre ngayon mas marami na ring mahuhumaling na bata sa tennis. Do you have your plans with regards to putting up your own academy?
Sa akin, medyo malayo pa yan. I think that point is still quite far away. 19 pa lang ako, so wala akong masyadong magagawa in terms of putting up an academy. Um, I'm still in the beginning of my career. So I don't have the space or the resources to be able to do that yet. Um, and my main focus right now is my career and is my tennis. So um, when I go back, I do clinics for some kids. Um, and that's the most I can do is to inspire. Yun na lang yung magagawa ko ngayon kasi kasi nga it's too early. Yeah.
You're
Okay, go
Last
ahead.
na lang po. Okay lang po.
Yes.
You have your dream matchup, Alex. Who's your dream matchup if ever?
Well, current players or syempre si Sabalenka because that's the number one in the world. So I found it fitting na in the semifinals I was fighting for a place in a final against the number one in the world. So that's really where you want to be. Yeah.
okay. Thank
Thank,
you, Nico.
thank, thank you. Alex, your inspiration, it's hindi lang siya lang. In fact, we can actually say that there's a lot more people are picking up rackets because of the inspiration you've given us. I have a few more questions. Sorry. This is from Paolo de la Cruz of People Asia. You have so many tournaments lined up around the globe. Where are you coming? When are you coming back to celebrate with your fans in Manila?
Oh, that's tough. I would love to come back because a lot of my family's there. Well, all of my family's there. Um, but the schedule cannot permit. Alam mo naman, the tennis schedule and the WTA tour is very on the go. It's never really stopping. So maybe third or fourth quarter is the only time I'll be able to come home.
Thank you, Alex. So I think we've called on everyone. We'll have another maybe last two questions, and Diane also would like to ask another round of her questions. Diane?
Hi, Alex. Can you put the video on? Hey, Alex. So, you probably saw all the messages that you got from tennis greats, Navratilova, Chris Evert, Mats Wilander, Andy Roddick. All the international press is talking about you. They super love you. How does that make you feel? And also, they are now believing that you can actually challenge for a Grand Slam title, seeing your game that you play.
Hmm. I definitely think I have the potential for a Grand Slam. And it's super flattering to hear all those greats talking about me when I've been looking up to them for so long. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's important for it not, it means a lot that they recognize my talent, but I cannot dwell on just that because in the end it's one tournament. And I know that in order to be a great, you need tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament like this. So that's what I'm trying to work on. That's the goal. Yeah.
So not too long ago, syempre, you told me that one of your goals was obviously to win a Grand Slam and to be number one. So now it's looking, I mean, you're definitely on the upward trajectory towards that.
Yeah. Oh well, yes, and the end goal hasn't changed. Yun pa din yun.
Just a quick update on your foot. I know that you're okay, so there's no more pain. You're clear to train. You're not making alalay anything. And are you still taping your
No more, no
thigh or
tape,
your
no tape, nothing. Everything is perfectly healthy. So,
Thank you,
and how
Diane. Ay, sorry. Go ahead.
what did Nico say to you?
Nico,
Yeah, your brother.
um, yeah, he was super excited. I think you rarely see him freak out about things, but he was really freaking out about that.
Galing.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
job.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Thank you.
question.
Thank you,
One
Diane,
last,
and we're close.
okay. Can we have one last more question from Krista de la Cruz? She's been raising her hand. Krista, and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Wait lang. All right. My question, I have a quick question lang. Two questions pala. So the first is, what is the biggest challenge in being a Filipino athlete specifically, as in Filipino athlete? But also on the flip side, what's the biggest reward?
Uh, hmm. Well, it's challenging. Alam mo, you know what's challenging is being able to travel flexibly. Yeah, tama ba yun? Sorry. With flexibility. For me, I find challenging the visas. Being able to plan because as a tennis player, you need to be very flexible with your schedule. You're going to make a lot of last minute choices, and it doesn't allow you time to organize all of this every single time to have the visas ready. So that's what I find challenging. On the flip side, the best thing about being a Filipino athlete, of course, is the support and the Pinoys. Because you cannot find that kind of community anywhere else, in my opinion. And the love and the support, this past month is a testament to that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Krista. And that wraps up the question and answer portion for media. Again, we'd like to welcome all your other questions, and we'll get back to you at a later time when Alex is available to give her replies.